Hi everyone, this is Mr. Chang and this is lesson 5, Relations and Graphing Calculator. This lesson is more like a tutorial. You follow the steps and you learn about how to use your graphic calculator. You can see on your screen I have a graphic calculator here. This one is the 83 plus, which is same as 84 plus, same button. So the nice thing having this tutorial is I can show you what exactly is the key that I put in this calculator. You can see my cursor, right? And then you can follow along. And all the steps are in your lesson already. So the best way to learn this lesson is you either listen to this or you read through the lesson with the calculator next to you and you follow the key here step by step. Now the lesson start with the simple setup and then how to enter a simple graph, how to look at the graphs and look at using the zoom and look at the table of values. So that's the first few pages is about the simple, basically how to use it. Now, the next few steps are more difficult one. You need to look at how to find the y coordinate, x coordinate of a point. You need to use some special function on the calculator and learn how to do it. So there are more steps involved. So this lesson could be quite long. Take the time to learn it, all right? And then until you know how to use your graphic calculator. Your teacher can also show you how to use it in class. Once you know how to use the graphic calculator, you save you a lot of work. Because in the future, you can always just use your graphic calculator and you can find out the answer. Alright, let's start. Number one is preparing for the graphic calculator. Just get it started. So if you look here, turn it on, the on button. If you go to the mode, this is all the different mode, different setting the graph can have. You can just use the cursor to move down. Alright, the gray 10 you should be using degree mode. You can hit enter, then it will be selected. In the last line, we'll come at this later. It says full, which means full page for the graph, or you can have G graph versus table. So you can split this screen into graph on one side, table on the other side. Alright, now let's look at, you can follow this step separately. Alright, now look at all the buttons on top here is about the graph. So if you click the window, it shows you this is the standard window. Alright, it will bring a graph from -10 to 10, -10 to 10. This is x min, x max, y min, y max. And let's go to zoom. The standard window is zoom 6, give you the standard window. So whenever you change your window, right, if you go zoom 6, it will go back to the basic window. So you can always come back to this basic window. And then the y equal is for you to enter your equation. Sometimes on the top we have something called a plot. Those are for plotting data, which is for statistic plot. So the second function y equal give you stat plot is about the plot. If one of the plot is on, you can enter, go into the plot, you can turn it on or off, like hitting enter will turn it on. Alright. Or you can go to the same menu, go down here, you can turn all plots on. So here plots on, you hit enter, and then when you set something like this, which we need to enter again. So now all the plots are on. How does it look like? It will look like this. They are all highlighted in your window. When your plots are on without data, your graph will complain. It will say error. Okay, so when you see this, just quit. Okay, there's a common problem. So you just go back to the y equal, you can check if there's something wrong here. Oh, you see the plots are on, let's turn them off. How do you turn them off? Second function, stat, go to the plot. The fourth one, say plots off. You can either scroll down or just hit the number 4. You'll say plot off, hit enter. This is like executing this command and then the calculator will report done. And then now when you go to y equal, they are all clear. You have no problem graphing. Let's make our first graph. Okay, look at this equation. Negative 1.25x plus 15. So we are graphing this. Let me ask you, is this minus sign negative or minus? Subtracting. Well, it means minus. In the graphic calculator, you see there's two buttons for negative. One is minus, one is actually subtract. One is negative sign. And then see they're different. So you clear everything. Alright? So you need to make a distinction. So go to y equal. If you type minus 1.25x, okay, x button is here, x button, and then plus 15, it will be wrong because it should be negative, not minus. So when you make a mistake, when you graph, what happened? It will say syntax error. Okay, and then you want to go back and see why. So you enter first, go back to y equal what's wrong. That's a common problem. It's not minus 1.25, it's negative 1.25. When you type, they will replace what's on there. So just go here. See, that's negative. Now when you graph, it will work. Alright, so this is the same as what you have here. This is all the key what you need to type. Alright, let's move on. The next thing is you need to adjust your window. Look at look at the graph. Usually you want to see the special point of a graph. For example, a straight line, the special points are the y-intercept and the x-intercept. So look at this graph. You can imagine the x-intercept occur beyond here, right, somewhere there. And then the y-intercept is over there. So which means x you want to see more, and then y you want to see more to the top. So this is y max, you want to adjust y max. This is x max, you want to adjust x max. So you need to adjust your window manually. So let's go to window. I want to see more to the right. Then you change x max. Let's double it to 20. I want to see more to the top. Let's change y max to 20. The scale is how close they put the subunit. So when they are all spaced by 1, you can see this will be the result. Your axes are very close together. Okay, now you see the x-axis and y-axis. This is a desirable view. This looks better because you see all the special point on the graph. If your graph is a parabola, you want to see the top point, the x-axis and the y-axis, y-intercept and x-intercept. Here, let's go back. Let's change the division. See, this is kind of too close together. Maybe you can want to change it to 5, for example. Alright, so every 5 units you put a tick there. So see, does it look better? Right, 5, 10, 15. Alright, so this is how you enter a graph and adjust the window. You can also use the zoom features, which I think is not that good. It's better to work with the windows, so that you have an idea what window are you working at. However, for the zoom, they have zoom in, zoom out. For example, you can zoom out. Just like in a map, you can zoom out. They have highlight the middle. You can move that cursor to other places. Then you zoom out from there. Or you just want to zoom out from the center. And then you just see more. Something like that. Alright? Well, what exactly happened to the axis? You can look at the window to see what window they're putting in. Once again, I don't like those zoom in and out feature. You can zoom back in again. Alright, hit enter. See, it's pretty much go back to what you set to be. But I'll rather manually control it myself rather than let it zoom in and out of their choices. There's also something called a zoom fit. Okay, so zoom fit is supposed to fit the graph properly. So 0. Okay, so if I hit 0. Zoom fit, oh, it looks pretty good, right? The zoom fit like this. So zoom fit is another way that works. So whenever you have a graph, when you don't know which part to look at, do zoom fit first. Maybe that's the first thing. If it doesn't work, then you adjust your window manually. Okay, so this is my graph. You can also see a table of values, right? Like remember in earlier homework, for example, they give you an equation, ask you to come up with a table of values. With the help of calculator, they can print off the entire table for you. How do you do that? You need to go to table setup and also table. It's this button here. So let's go to second function, table setup. So table setup. You can determine your starting point. Let's say I want to start at -2. I'm just following the steps here. Okay. And then just say independent, dependent, auto. So they will just generate the number automatically. And then change of table is how often they skip a number. So if you want to do -2, -1, 0, just skip by 1. Just put a 1 there. If you put a 2, they jump by 2. Well, how does it look like? Let's go to table. It looks like this, second function table. It gives you all the ordered pairs starting from -2 and go all the way, increment 1 every unit, all the way to forever. It's actually go back to numbers beyond -2 as well. Alright? Now you can change it to jump. Okay, let's say let's start from -5 and I want to skip every 2 boxes, right? This will be the result, -5, -3, -1, right? So it depends on what you want for your independent variable, you can generate a list of dependent variable very quickly rather than doing it one by one. Good news. Alright, so moving on, it says here you can also put the graph and table of values simultaneously. Just go to mode and choose the last option here, go to the bottom and then just hit enter and then just go back to graph. See, one side graph, one side the table of values. But this is not very useful because I just want a bigger screen. So I either examine the graph or the table of values. I don't need them to be on the same screen. Anyway, let's moving on. Now let's move on to something more challenging, okay, which is do some more analysis of a graph. First, finding a y-coordinate of a point. So when you have a graph, so go back here, how can I find out, for example, when x is equal to 1, right? How can you find out? The way to find out is to use this trace button. So when you trace, it allows you to trace any x value. So if I enter 1, okay, see, trace, enter 1, it will tell me the coordinate on that point. When x is 1, you have 13.75. When x is, you can, while you are in trace, you can keep typing number. You always enter x value. X is 2, that's the number. X is 3, that's the number. 3.5, that's the number. You can even enter fraction 11 over 4, that's the number. See, you can enter any number you want. So this is how you determine the dependent variables based on your dependent variables on the graph. You can also move along the graph, but they don't give you a whole number, so it's not very useful. So trace 10 will let you jump to the point there. Okay? Now, finding the y coordinate easy, just trade x. How about finding x coordinate? X coordinate is more indirect. So let's look at the steps here. If you want to find out what the x value when y equal to 8, what do you need to do? You need to draw another line. So it says here, go back to the y equal window. I want to find out what is x when y is equal to 8. So what you need to do is you need to type y equal to 8, like this. And then you graph it. Wow, you see there's another line there. Where they cross is the answer, because at the point they cross, this line represents when y is equal to 8. Where they cross is the point when y is equal to 8 on the diagonal line. X is at that point. So how do I find out this point? The calculator has a function which is in this calculate menu. Okay, so go to second function, calculate. Well, there's many things the calculator can calculate for you. You can find out zeros, which mean the x-intercept, maximum or minimum point of a graph, or the intersect point. Okay, so you only need to do 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So let's do 5, intersect. Now after you say you want to find the intersect, the calculator will ask you a question. They ask you what's the first curve, and then they ask you what's the second curve, which means they want you to find they want you to tell them which two curve the intersection you want to find. Since you only need to have two equations, the first curve they always pick y1. See, they highlight y1 for you. You just hit enter. The second curve they always give you y2. So when you do these features, if you always just have two curves, y1, y2, those will be picked correctly by default. Second curve, see, they pick y2 for you. Just hit enter. And then when they say guess, I don't know why they ask that. Just hit enter. So which means, and then you get the answer. See, intersection 5.6 when y is 8. So once again, how do you find the answer? You enter another number, y is equal to 8, alright? And you just go to second function, calculate, choose intersect, just hit enter 3 times. Enter, 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 you get the answer. Intersection 5.68. Alright? So, that's how you do it. Okay, moving to exercise number 1. Okay, I think I ran out of time, so I will finish this example in my second video. See you.